Well, it was what I read in history books, and it came from, where a country which was at a mere $180 a day was its per capita GDP back in 1979. So the fact of the matter is that China has done so well of going from a per capita GDP of $180 today, it's at around $12,000, and by 2025 we expect it to be at about $25,000. The important thing is that by ending poverty, you give people dignity, a sense of equality, a sense of fairness, and then they can dream of a brighter future. And that is what I'm witnessing here. First of all, I want to congratulate China, I think, on several counts. And I think today is a culmination of the success that China has had, not just in the last 50 years, but in the last 4 decades of lifting over 750 million people out of poverty. And I think this is a signature moment when we are looking at the decade of action of the 2030 agenda of the Sustainable Development Goals. But let me go back to China's return to its lawful seat. I think China has been a voice of reason, a beacon of hope for the developing world, or what a country is capable of doing when it brings together the enterprise of political will and the right public policies and the right partnerships in order to advance human prosperity, the common prosperity agenda. So this is a very significant moment, and I, as the UN Resident Coordinator to China, feel extremely proud that I'm here part of a family of 27 UN agencies, funds and programs representing the UN Secretary General in China to support China in its ambition of not just achieving the 2030 agenda, ensuring that we are successful with the 14th five-year plan, at the same time sharing China's valuable experiences with the rest of the global South. I think it's a fabulous announcement, and I want to congratulate President Xi Jinping for his vision and the ambition that he has set forth, not just for China but for the rest of the world. And through the Global Development Initiative, what we are doing is converging all the lessons of the world, bringing together a sense of equality, a paradigmatic shift in the way we look at global development, moving to a model where we start to create more national self-reliance, more ownership. So bringing together the might of the Belt and Road Initiative, bringing together South-South in its entirety, bringing together more investments, bringing together partnerships, not just South-South, but South-North-South. So I welcome that. And if I were to quote President Xi on his spirit of multilateralism, I think this is where at the 76th General Assembly, he reconfirmed it. He said once that, when we set sail together, we can, break many waves and cross over many overcome the challenges in front of us, because then we can travel the journey of 10,000 miles and brave those journeys. And I think that is where the significance of this really lies. Perhaps more than ever today, the clarion call he's made of uniting the world towards the development agenda, sustaining the push towards the 2030 agenda, sharing China's knowledge and experiences, and at the same time addressing China's own, through the 14th five-year plan, the issues of inequality. I think we are setting a stage where the true spirit of partnerships is really getting started. And I see this as a huge opportunity for the rest of the world and for China's leadership in that space. So I was very impressed with Foreign Minister Wang Yi's remarks today. First of it is on the COVID-19 is the collective responsibility of the entire world uniting to end the pandemic, making sure that vaccines is equally available to the entire world and that nobody is left behind. And President Xi has already talked about vaccines being a global public good. I believe that China, through its actions, is demonstrating precisely that. About by the end of the year, there'll be nearly 2 billion vaccines that China would have contributed. It is investing about $100 million into the COVAX facilities. So I think that's a very important issue. The second is Foreign Minister Wang Yi has talked about the renewal of multilateralism. He's emphasizing this important issue. It must be about equity, equality amongst nation states and member states. It's not about giving instructions to one country or the other. It is about the shared phenomenon, the common prosperity agenda. Because without a united world, we will not be able to achieve the 2030 agenda, nor will we be able to achieve the Africa Union vision of 2063. So I think many components of his speech today really echoed, and this is precisely what the Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Antonio Guterres, my boss, has in mind. And I believe his perspective of a united world moving in lockstep towards the so-called common agenda is absolutely crucial. I would first of all like to commend China's own global public health response, and particularly the manner in which it has not only been able to stop the spread of the virus, but also managed to make sure that it also continued to grow its economy. At the same time, distributed vaccines and PPEs and gloves and supplies that were very necessary. I was in Africa, in Kenya in 2020, just at the time when the pandemic was starting, and there was no, the global supply chains broke down, and China was the first country to come and support all the 53 countries in Africa, 54 countries in Africa, with these additional supplies, which was actually very, very helpful at that time. So I believe we need a united front against pandemics, because this is not the last pandemic. We have important lessons to learn from this pandemic, and those lessons will form the frontier or our new defenses against a future pandemic.